Yes. Happy morning, children. Hope you all are doing good. Okay, after so long time we are meeting each other. Okay. So today we are going to see about the same chapter, the continuation chapter of the globalization and the Indian economy. Okay. So, today we are going to wind up this chapter. By this, we are going to complete this chapter. Okay. Hope you all understood what do you mean by globalization and how it is affecting our Indian, the economy, and what do you mean by foreign direct investment, all those things. Okay. So in today's class, what are the concepts we'll be discussing? See, in today's class, we'll be seeing about the rising competition. So due to this globalization, how the competition is increasing in the world economy or the whole, the whole world. That we'll be seeing today. And then we'll be seeing about uncertain employment. So how this globalization and the foreign investment, all these activities, how it is affecting the employment structure or the pattern. Okay, so every the country will be having their set of rules and regulations. So how this globalization is affecting their policies, okay, that we'll be seeing today. And then the struggle for a fair globalization. Guys, we have seen we have studied about World Trade Organization. So there are some policies, or there are some policies, rules and regulations which has been already made by World Trade Organization, by some developed countries. Okay, but as we have studied in the last class, we seen that those developed countries are only not following those rules and regulations. Okay, so how about the the developing countries and the underdeveloped countries to overcome with that problem? How to adopt this fair globalization? Fair means the proper and the balanced globalization for the whole world. That we'll be seeing today, and then we'll go for recapitulation. Okay, so guys, I'll give you just a fraction of seconds. Just remember what are all the concepts we have learnt in this chapter. Okay. Yes, we understood. What do you mean by domestic trade, international trade? What do you mean by globalization? And then, yes, investment. What do you mean by investment? And what do you mean by foreign investment? What are the factors which is affecting all those activities? Okay, fine, children. Let's see today's class. See, the small producers compete or perish. So we have already studied about this globalization, how it is affecting, how it is affecting the small producers. Okay, and how it is affecting to the consumers. In the last class and all, we have seen how it is helpful or affecting the life of the people. It may be for the producers or it may be for the consumers, all those people. So coming to the consumers, what happens? Yes, they are getting the varieties of choices for the cheaper prices. Yes or no, children? So as we are a consumers, how we are getting? We are getting the lot of varieties of products. The same product with the different brands we are getting for the cheaper prices due to the high competition. Yes or no? So due to the high competition, we are getting for very cheaper prices those products. So it is quite advantageous for the consumers, and that too for the high standard of people. That is the quite rich consumers. And coming to it is helping for the standard to improve their standard of living. Coming to the next one, that is to the producers. How it is helping to the producers? So it is helping the producers to compete with the global market. So by that what happens? They can improve their technology, they can improve their quality, the production activities. Okay, so all these activities. But as we have studied in the last class, what we have studied, children, in India, what we have done in India? Immediately after India got independence, Yes, we abolished this import activities and we introduced, our Indian government introduced some trade barriers. Yes, what was the reason for that, children? Yes, exactly. You people are correct. That is the time where Indian companies or the industries were growing. That is the stage where the Indian industries were starting up. So due to that, they were not in a position to compete with the global industries. To avoid that, to help for the Indian producers, they introduced the trade barriers. That means restrictions on the import activities. Okay, after that, once Indian government thought that when Indian producers are ready to compete with the global market, that time they have removed these trade barriers and they have taken back all those restrictions and made it free for the import and the export activities, that is international trade. Okay, so due to that, what happened to our small producers? Coming to the the big producers are the industries, what happened for them? Yes, they were ready to adopt the new technology, new methods and the production activities and to improve the qualities, everything. And there were some MNCs, that is the multinational companies, were supporting for that by investing some amount. But coming to the small producers, what is the problem they were facing, children? Yes, exactly. It was very difficult for them. Earlier they were producing very well. You can check in your textbook, children. You just go through that story. There is a story of a small producer. Okay, what happens to them? Earlier they will be producing very well. Coming to anything, it may be electronic goods or it may be the small motor producers, the production activities, all those things. So what happens for them? Before this, the introduction of this globalization or the the world market, they were producing the products and they were the very good producers, and under them they used to have around 10 to 15 workers and they gave even the work to the others. And as we know, once we start up the business, what happens? Of course, it is very difficult for them to make profit. Yes or no? It is quite common. So around the beginning 3 years, they will be struggling to get and to gel with the market. So once they started and started to introduce in the market, so of course they started to increase their productional activities. Okay, they started to get more and more orders, all those things. But due to this, the globalization, what happens? As we know, when we are producing the small quantity with the producers and coming to the MNCs by using the machineries, the production cost will be less compared to the small producers. So due to that, what happens? Yes, children. So finally what happens? It will be very difficult for the small producers to compete with them because they will be providing the products for the cheaper prices because the cost of production will be less. But for the small producers, it will be very difficult. Okay, hope you guys understood, right? So due to that, what happens? Slowly the sales of the small producers will decrease. Okay, so they'll not be able to compete with this. Yes, the big producers are the MNCs. Okay, so that is what here we understood, that is the small producers, whether they'll be competing with them or perish. So finally what happens? Many people will be shutting up their the industries because they will not be able to compete with the big producers at the global market. Okay, yes. See, due to the Rising competition. What happens? Rising competition means, of course, the competition will be increasing a lot. Okay, so due to the increase in the competition, it will be very difficult for them to compete with that, because the prices of the products and the MNCs will be quite lesser than compared to the small producers. Okay, yes children, see, competition and uncertain employment. What do you mean by this competition and uncertain employment? So we have seen this concept in the last concept, this meaning about this in the last concept. What we have understood there? Yes, we have seen about the foreign investment. So that time, what are the measures the government was taking to improve or to attract the foreign investment towards India? Yes, they were giving some priorities for them, and they were giving some liberties for them, and they removed some yes, the policies which has been made for the workers. Okay, the policies, the employees policies has been changed. So as we have already studied about, do you guys remember about organized sector and the unorganized sectors of employment, children? Yes. What do you mean by organized sector of employment? So there, yes, the workers will be having some guarantee for their work, and then they'll be having a fixed salary, fixed working hours, and they'll be having some facilities like ESI, PF, all those things. But coming to the unorganized sector, what happens? They'll not be having any facilities, they'll not be having any, the work job assurance will not be there, and they'll not be having a time limit. Okay, and some facilities will not be given for them. So due to this, the huge competition for the work and uncertain employment, see, the condition of work and the hardships of the workers have become common to many industrial units and services in India. So as we have seen what happens in India, children, compared to organized sector, many garments are the huge, the productional activities. This kind of, the working environment has been increased a lot than compared to the organized sector. Okay, in your textbook they have given one example. Just go through those children. So what they have told, a lady who was working in an organized sector, and she left organized sector due to some uncertainties, and she joined some unorganized sector. There she'll not be having any facilities where she had earlier. That is, no proper working timings, no proper salary for her work, and even there is no extra time, the payment. That is, even if she is working for the overtime also, she is not paid for that, her service, and she has to work for the all the 7 days of a week. Okay, so these are all the problems the people or the employees are facing. Okay, see, most workers today are employed in the unorganized sector. So due to this huge competition for the employment opportunities, the people are ready to work in unorganized sectors only. So this concept we have studied in your 9th standard chapter in your economics. Guys, do you remember the story of village Palampur? So workers were more. There was a huge demand for the employment. So that is the reason the labors they were getting for the very cheaper prices. Even for the very cheaper prices, the people or the laborers were ready to work even less than the government, the fixed wages. Okay, the minimum wages which has been fixed by the government, even people were ready to work, less than that. And then increasingly, conditions of work in the organized sector have come to resemble the unorganized sector. So due to the huge competition, even in the unorganized sector, what were the facilities they were giving earlier has been decreased. Even they started to look like unorganized sectors. Even the organized sectors were looking like